How would I... Do I fold my leg that way?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool, so is that...
Yeah.
Yeah, so as it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week, it'd be really good sort of to share our experiences to try and sort of encourage other people to talk about their mental health.
I think with Mental Health Awareness Week, for me, it's something that I want to do something about. Like, I want to spread awareness because obviously having experienced mental health myself, I feel like it's really important.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same for you.
Yeah, well, I think because I kept quiet for so long about kind of the problems that I was having, and then sort of finally getting help and sort of being able to talk to people about it, so it made such a difference to my life, and I want to try and do something the same as you to sort of help other people so they don't kind of go through that similar sort of situation, they get help a lot earlier.
I think just with the week, Mental Health Awareness Week, it kind of shows how much it's changed already.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously still got so far to go, but just now, like before, in I don't know how many years ago, that wouldn't be a thing. Mental Health Awareness Week, everyone would just be like, no, kind of, that's not okay. But now it's more kind of talked about, and I think that is a step forward in itself, just having even just a week dedicated to something that is such a worldwide problem.
Yeah.
You were quite young, weren't you?
Yeah, when things started to go kind of, well, when I sort of started to struggle, I was about 8 years old. And yeah, it was quite difficult not understanding sort of what I was going through. How about you? How old?
I suppose I was probably quite young, but I didn't know if it was a problem or not. I just kind of assumed that maybe it was.
Yeah, so when did you sort of first sort of think, I might start to need some help sort of thing?
Probably when I was like in year 7 at school, so I was probably about 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
But I didn't get help because I didn't think I was bad enough for help, if that makes sense.
Did anyone sort of pick up on it or?
Well, I think a few of my teachers did. They spoke to my parents, but it was kind of like after that, I kind of just brushed it off and then went back to pretending it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, because that's what I used to do. I used to sort of put on a smile and sort of everything's fine kind of thing and not actually sort of say anything. And the thing that I found really hard, I suppose, was being at school and not really sort of understanding what I was going through and not knowing who to talk to or what to do. And I used to find like even sort of going into the common room at school, it's like really, really hard sort of thing because my anxiety would just be so high.
Yeah.
And and it was kind of just sort of making excuses not to go in there and sort of avoiding things rather than actually being honest and sort of talking about kind of how I was feeling.
With school, like there's different people, they show things in different ways. Some people will just not turn up to lessons, or other people just become like really withdrawn and not go out like at lunchtime and things like that. And well, because of me having an eating disorder, at lunch I just avoided it. I avoided sitting with my friends. I'd do anything to kind of get away and out of that situation so nobody asked questions. But people don't always see it like that. I think when I stopped sitting with my friends at lunch, they kind of just assumed that, oh, I'm just kind of being awkward or like not wanting to be with them. And I don't think they actually realised that actually that was kind of a warning sign.
Yeah.
People are kind of scared to ask you the question, are you okay? But that question, it can't do any harm.
No.
And I think for me, I always felt like I couldn't ask people for help, but if they had asked me, maybe things would have been different.
Yeah.
Maybe if someone said, oh, are you okay? Then maybe I'm probably would have been more likely to open up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, it is just a few words are just like, are you okay? But those words can make such a difference to someone.
Yeah.
And and I think that's the thing, it's always to kind of look out for other people and sort of, if someone is sort of struggling, to kind of recognise those warning signs, then people can kind of, I don't know, look out for each other and sort of help them or encourage people to ask for help.
Yeah.
So when you actually got the help, what was it that kind of, I don't know, turned sort of things around?
I don't know really. I think it's like the realisation that you can't live the rest of your life when something interferes with your everyday life. You've kind of got to work on that because otherwise you're just going to be well, I felt like I was going to be stuck like it forever, but that wasn't the case really. I think once I kind of started getting help, then I don't know, it just kind of gave me like a realisation that there is other options and things do get better. But
Yeah. What I was going to say, because I found out, I mean, when I was really sort of struggling, so back to 2010 sort of time, that I couldn't talk about it. And I mean, I was teaching guitar at the time, and if I had sort of a physical problem, I'd say to the parents, "Oh, I'm not feeling well." But when I was struggling mentally, I just couldn't bring myself to sort of talk about it. And me thinking by hiding it was the best thing to do, which it wasn't, because then I ended up getting really, really ill and sort of then into sort of hospital. And but in some ways, it was sort of being around other people that were going through a similar sort of thing was actually one of the most positive things. It made me realise that I wasn't alone.
yeah, I think I found that when I went into hospital, it was actually, oh, maybe it's not just me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because that's that common sort of misunderstanding that it's like only certain people have mental health, but we all have mental health
Yeah,
kind of thing.
we all have mental health, we all have physical health. But I think if you said to people, oh, you have mental health too, they'd be like, no, not me, but they do. But I think by mentioning that I've suffered from like mental illness, it's amazing how many people then open up and say, actually, so have I, or I know this person, and it's amazing how many people know somebody, even if it's not them.
Yeah.
I think that's something that really has opened my eyes, the amount of people and how common it is, but how unspoken it's been.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, where it is sort of, well, for adults, is it 1 in 4?
Yeah.
Younger people, like 1 in 10, and it's still so surprising when people don't want to talk about it, because it's so many people that are probably struggling sort of in silence, and if everyone did talk about it more, then yeah, it'd be so much better, because then people just wouldn't be in that situation where, I don't know, they feel ashamed to talk about things or anything. If people are much more open, then
I think before I went into hospital, I felt so alone because I didn't tell anyone and I didn't speak. I think I felt like I was the only one, and I think that probably contributed to the worsening of my illness. And I think now, even though I have my bad days and my good days, because I'm more open and more people know, I kind of don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that is a really key thing, because yeah, where I sort of hid things as well, and now sort of if I'm not feeling good, I talk about it to people, and then
people look out for you.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing, because when I didn't talk about things, people didn't know, so I'd sort of be spiralling kind of down, and then I wouldn't sort of stop sort of thing, whereas now sort of talking to people, it sort of stops things from getting too sort of bad again. And it's incredible that, again, I know sort of when I was sort of struggling and then sort of opened up to sort of some people thinking, well, how are they going to react kind of thing, and then people gone, I was in the same situation, I've been through a similar thing, and it's like, oh, okay, and then sort of start talking about it, and it really helps. So kind of now, I say sort of with your blog and other things that you're doing now, is so other things you're doing sort of as well as the blog.
Just schoolwork, really. Well, I'm just trying to keep busy, so I do like a lot of stuff I do interviews for NHS cams. I've done a film with the BBC, like an animated film. What else have I done? I've done quite a bit. I suppose it's opened up so many like opportunities, and that's something that, like, when people say, "Would you change it?" I'd be like, "No."
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's like it's opened up so many like different doors. That, and I've met so many like people through it and things like that. That it's really quite a positive out of something that was so negative.
Yeah.
Still can be.
Yeah, because that's the way I look at things. Like when I think back, like those few years ago, where I just thought that was it, kind of thing. Like nothing's ever gonna get better, and then like exactly you say, just now I wouldn't change those experiences for anything, because I mean, to now sort of running the campaign, sort of trying to help other people, it's like that passion for wanting to help other people. It was like come from something so negative that is now something positive if it's helping other people to access help, sort of thing.
But the thing is with you, if you hadn't kind of been through that, then you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Like, you'd probably still be teaching guitar or something like that.
Yeah, and it is amazing how kind of things can turn around and say something that is so negative can become sort of a positive sort of thing, and it's yeah, I think it's the thing that's always trying to help people remember that if they are kind of unwell, then it isn't the end kind of
It's
thing.
not, yeah, it's only temporary, really.
Yeah,
I think once you get the help, and I mean, it can take a while, like, yeah, and it's a slow process, and even now, things aren't always perfect, but for such a simple thing, talking, it can go so far.
yeah, and it certainly can make such a difference to someone's life, which I say is just so important. I think the thing is to get across that it's just, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like if I break my leg or break my arm, sort of, people would say it kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I think it's sort of struggling with a mental illness. It's kind
Just
of,
because you can't see it,
yeah, and I think
it doesn't mean it's not there.
yeah, and that's why it's so important to talk and just let people know that it's all right to talk about it, and sort of the more people talk, so break down that stigma, which I think is really important.
Yeah, definitely.